Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the official NickWalshTV channel. We are live. We are a little bit later than usual, or a little bit later than planned. If you guys are following on my channels, you will have seen there was some confusion surrounding the maintenance that happened today. The maintenance happened really early this morning, but then was notified that it was still going on. I was online and then I was kicked off because maintenance was occurring, so I wasn't sure if we were still doing that or not. I'm just gonna have another look at what the deal is here, because on the PokerStars support Twitter, it does still say that they are under maintenance, but I seem to be able to play just fine, so I guess we're just gonna go for it. Anyway, we're going to give it a go, guys. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's fine, but I still wanted to get a session in. We have played a little bit today so far. Let's take a look at the graph for this month. So this is the month of July. So far, we got off to kind of a slow start. We have managed to actually grind up a little bit of dollar profit and a reasonable chip EV. Anything above 18 overall, I think, would be very respectable. But we still have to put in a big shift here to try and compensate for a lot of this flat line that we've been enduring recently. So with no further ado, let's get into our first games. Let's see if the games will run, and we'll go from there. So basically, guys, I was on Stars this morning. $100 game, nice. I was on Stars this morning, and I was merrily doing bits and bobs, messing around, and at some point I was booted. So I didn't know if that meant that it was still ongoing. When I went to support, it said that there was still maintenance occurring, so it must have been going on for quite some time now, I suppose. And now, as a result, we find ourselves here. Steal and a check is an interesting prospect. The king is also interesting. Honestly, raise and then no bet on ace queen is probably very suspicious. This is a pretty gnarly run out, to be honest. I don't think we're going to turn a hand to a bluff, but this is kind of not really what we're looking for. Backdoor spades would have been nicer. This is a bit of a sad story now, isn't it, guys? Plenty of 10x will defend blind v blind versus steal here. I think betting the flop is probably completely fine. We decided to check. This does feel as though they really want to fold, but whatever. Let's just leave this one be. It's definitely not our hand here. I think betting the flop probably would have been marginally better. Hello everybody in the chat, by the way. Undersea Monkey, Yasik, hello. Undersea Monkey says meeting time. Hope it's not too long. Jakers, good to see you. Erwin says, hi guys, hi Nick, how are the vibes today? We just began. The vibes are good though. I'd say vibes in general are pretty good. The idea behind today was to try and go live at 2 p.m. UK. However, we are running a smidge behind because of the maintenance. There's some confusion surrounding maintenance. They haven't updated, so I don't know what they think is going on. Anyway, seems to be working. Let's say this one's pretty straightforward. Jack 10 straight into Jack's not ideal. Still going to be a push no matter what. Unfortunate game there for us in the 4x multiplier. Could be an unknown Brazilian on the left. Hello, Gil. How's it going, buddy? Welcome. Definitely calling a push here against Julian. We don't really have an answer. I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to be. I don't imagine that this sort of raise to 5 versus 1 is a thing, but against the player that we have little to no experience with, we're going to assume that we are just going to have to fold there against the big bet. And, you know, generally speaking, when people have those big bets and they haven't represented pre-flop, blind v blind, it's very rarely going to be strong hands. It's going to be big draws. Maybe even like, you know, Jack 10 of spades or something like that. All of that makes sense. 8-7 directly into kings. Again, the push here with the 8-7 is going to be totally fine. This is going to be a profitable move. That's 2 games running into 2 big pairs. Absolute domination in both cases. Let me know if this fan is too loud, guys. I think we did a test the other day. It should be fine. This mic does a pretty good job of canceling out that kind of thing. Catalo Nuts over on YouTube. Hello. How's it going? Good luck. Thank you. Hello, Jean. Welcome back. Bonjour. Bonjour, bonjour. Hey, Tom. How's it going, buddy? Dealing with some car dealership BS right now. All good, man. I hope that goes well. This is definitely okay. I think betting here is fine. I think checking is also cool. We do manage to pick up some additional equity on the turn. It's an interesting prospect. If they lead the turn here like this, I mean, we're just going to have the best hand a ton of the time. We can still get it in against worse nines, for example. We can get it in against draws right now. I guess with the clubs, let's just call. Reassess the river. It's a good run out. They've got a pretty good price to call here with one pair. Yeah, we just got to spin here, guys. We got to follow the rules. These are 2 regs. 9-4 is just going to be a call. We'll mark this one for review as well, but I'm pretty confident that this gets close to ATC. We're probably getting fairly close to a spot where we're just going to run the EV that we're given. Not even the EV. We're going to run the... we're just going to run the equity that we have. So we've got this promotion running as well at the moment, guys. Alongside the spin goal promotion, we also have the spin and go heist in certain regions. It's not everywhere. We've managed to unlock 2 $25 spin and go tickets so far. Let me just duplicate all this. Today is the 15th of the 7th. And even though it's a ticket, I mean, for us, it's as good as money, right? We're turning over a lot of cash playing spin and goes. You know, that means the next spin and go that we reg for 25 will cost us nothing, and then all of the money that we win from that is profit. So I'm going to track everything in the same fashion. I actually will, I've got a dedicated column specifically for cash and then for other rewards, but this is cool. Hello, 2 of the same. Thank you very much for the sub. Very kind of you. Gil says, I'm good, just left the gym. Feel sick, loving life. Good. End result is okay, but a lot of hoops to jump through. Long story short, tried to get me for a lot of dollars. Well, I'm glad that you got sorted out, Tom. We grind. Okay, let's try and keep it tight here. Definitely a call here, without a doubt. Pisco is a player we played a lot with. We'll be shoving the correct range here. We have him marked as he has done a couple... Oh my god, let's run out. We have him marked as he has done some interesting things before, but for the most part, the things we have marked down are just things we want to note rather than major blunders or anything. Turns a flush draw, rivers a boat. I mean, how much more do you want, mates? Deuces into 9s. Obviously never missing this all in. So that's 3 pairs we've run into today in about 5 games. Lovely stuff. Great start. Lovely. We managed to play a pretty extended session yesterday with minimal King of Poker. Jean says, any advice, please? I play €1, €2, €5, and I'm playing €10. My bankroll is actually 4,200. For the 20s to 25s, is a gap bankroll management wise. Yes and no. So if you're playing in the version of Spin and Goes where you start with 15 big blinds most of the time, I would say you probably want more buy-ins. The jump from 5 to 10, I think, is a big bankroll and skill jump. And then the jump from 10 to 25, I think, is, again, once more, quite a large leap. I would probably, if I was you, I would want more in the bankroll before I moved up to 20s or 25s. And also just be prepared to encounter a far tougher field. Had a conversation about this recently on stream, but a lot of the players that were playing higher stakes when they were playing reg speeds have actually moved down to the 25s and 50s. Just on the basis that you're still turning over a lot of money. And also on the basis that you are, you're expected to swing a lot more in the new format. I'm going to mark this one for review. I'm assuming this is the line we have to take. There's a chance with the gut shot we're supposed to call the turn and stuff like that, but obviously in reality this doesn't perform as well when your opponents aren't as aggressive as GTO. But this is a reg, so I don't think that's completely ridiculous. Pocket sevens. We are going to get the trap in here against Queen 6. I would say yesterday in general we had some pretty reasonable games, pretty decent games to reasonable matchups. Excuse me. Yeah, the limp call here is good. Limp call Queen Jack of Diamonds, I think, is textbook. We end up just having that part of our range that is ahead of that marginally. Yeah, 2 big blinds, wakes up with Ace King. Classic story. Now decisions for 4s. 9-4 a fold. Ace-7 of diamonds has definitely got to go. This is for 5 big blinds effective. Blinds are up again. 2.67, this is ATC. We're calling literally any 2 cards when we're forced all in here. When this player is all in, I mean. Yeah. Queen Deuce is actually kind of a nice wake up for this player. Nice. Okay, $50 next game. We'll fire up some more tables in a moment, guys. We are still going to probably aim to play till 5 today. I mentioned this earlier in the week as well, but in the next sort of month and a half, I think probably we're going to really lock in and we're going to play more days. We're going to play more hours. Try and catch up on the year a little bit here on stream as much as possible. The idea was to go to Goliath, so that would have been Vegas, Nottingham, Coventry for Goliath. But I think that Goliath might be off the table now, so I think we're going to probably look to lock in on the online streets and try and get this challenge a little bit further ahead here. Ace-9 as a push is good here. So where are we at right now, guys? So far this year, we've played 3,349 games. Chip EV is below expectation. Dollars are below expectation. But we still have a decent amount of runway to turn that around. If we can really lock in I'd say we have a pretty good shot. Let's start with a small bet. I'd say we can probably go for 2 quite often here. I don't expect him to fold a 9 too often. King highs are still a possibility. Queen highs are still. Okay, let's take a check line on the turn. The thing is, if they have a 9 or a 6, they do actually have to check a fair amount. And at this point, I think we can definitely get away with stuff like this. We are blocking the straight. He can still call us with a queen or a 9, but I think often he's going to be forced to fold here. And then the jack tray fold. What's up, Dankle? In for some spins. ATC wins the game. Nick's aggressive grinding in the near future. People pay good money to watch me aggressively grind. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I can't make it. It's just it's been a very busy couple months, and a lot of the buddies I was going to travel with have decided that they're not going to go along. So it makes sense. We are behind schedule here when it comes to the 10K games. We're a little bit behind schedule on the number of hours that I wanted to stream this year as well. So, you know, kind of makes sense. It all makes sense. I feel pretty confident that once we get out of the sort of rut that we've been stuck in here, not like that, that we can get to a respectable chip EV before the end of the year. We're going to need to do a bit better than that, though. The meme runouts are frustrating, to say the least. So this is definitely a hand that we can still call with, technically. It's very, very close to a break-even call, and often players are not going to be playing straight push fold at that stack depth. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is going to be fine to fold. Okay, let's try this. Yeah. I think we had a good little crew that was gonna go along to Goliath. Okay, I do actually have the signal to ISO this one. I'm randomizing this one, and we have arrived with 2 pair on the flop. Now, how often do I miss this bet? Half pot. Possibly the worst turn in the deck. There's an argument that we still can't fold at this point, however. Okay, whatever. We shouldn't encounter a queen here too often. It will be sometimes. Interesting. So King 10 doesn't really exist. 8-10 might be a thing. He shouldn't really have an ace. I think we have to call 8-10. Yep, that's one of the ones that makes perfect sense. There's just so little that we are concerned about at that stage in the hand. I would say that the line is very strong, don't get me wrong, but our opponent won't have a queen that often. They won't have King 10 ever. They won't have ace jack. They won't have ace queen. They won't have ace 9. Nice hand. Let's take another look at it because I think this is an interesting spot where ranges are very, very important. So if we think about the hands that actually want to be played like this, I think these are spots where a lot of people see me like make a call like this and then they'll go like, you know, how like you have jack 3, this isn't a good hand, look at the board, blah, 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 blah. If you think about the pre-flop action here, just ignore the fact we can see that he has 8-10 here. Once we limp at this stack depth, once we limp here, so we're limping at 8 big blinds effective. So the 8 big blind range here, I know this range very well. This is also definitely confirmed super reg. So we're not concerned about our opponents being too far off range very often, especially not in these sort of critical spots like this. So we've arrived here. There's a very, very, very large number of these combinations that connect with this board. Queen Jack is played aggressively pre-flop very often. Queen 9 is even played at a decent frequency. A lot of the offsuit queens that are low are going to be shoved versus limp pre-flop. King 10 always played aggressively here pre-flop. So the only very, very, very strong hands that our opponents has on this turn when it goes check, check, 9 deuce is like probably one of the only 2 pairs. Queen deuce, again, is a hand that's probably all in pre-flop versus reg most of the time. Jack 9 is still a possibility. If it's Jack 9 suited, some of the time that's played differently too. So suddenly, like, the strongest hands that we really encounter here are going to end up being the very weird, like, awkward 2 pairs. A lot of the awkward 2 pairs, like Jack Deuce, is very difficult for them to have as we have the Jack in our hand. So basically, the only straight that can really exist here is 8-10, which is completely in range. I would say 8-10 is definitely something that our opponents can have. It's very hard for them to have the Jack X2 pairs. It's very hard for them to have the Queen X2 pairs. They have none of the actual Broadway here either, so King 10 doesn't exist. Once we arrive here, I would say that there's a fair shot that our opponents have a random 10, where they were betting the straight draw and now they're going to commit with the blocker. 2 random hearts, including something with the 10 of hearts, right? What if they have 10 deuce of hearts or something like that, for example? But when the board runs out like this and we get jammed on, yes, this is a strong line, but the number of strong hands that exist here are very, very limited. Ace Jack doesn't exist, Ace Queen doesn't exist, Ace 9 doesn't exist, Ace Deuce doesn't exist. So the ace changes very little apart from the fact that it makes the board like more scary, but it changes absolutely nothing. Like the ace never interacts with our opponent's range here. So they've either flopped a straight, they have a very, very unlikely 2 pair, especially unlikely given the fact that we have a jack, or it's any one of the misdraws that we're describing. It's particularly good for your opponent to have a lead in these boards where they have the 10, because it means it's difficult for us to have the flop straight that we check on the flop, and also the King 10 trap is a lot less likely where we check flop when it's King 10, Queen Jack 9. So overall, I think this is probably pretty textbook. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and mark this for review as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this one is going to be straight GTO, but this is a good one. There's a chance maybe we're supposed to even, like, we have such a range advantage on that flop, there's a chance that we're even fine just to go ahead and bet flop ourselves, but we'll take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, we got a $100 game over here. Friend of the stream. Friend of the stream, live on air. Heads up against the Undersea Monkey official. All right, we got the ace-4 all in good here. Bad flop for us, though. I'm not sure what we're seeing a lead here with. I think we're going to raise. Undersea Monkey leading a King 7-4. Very strange behavior. Very, very strange. Got a good game on the left here, though. Two unknowns, or mostly unknowns. As we are deeper stacked, we do have some flats with our suited ace combos. I think we got a call flop still. Interesting turn, actually. Let's try and do one of these. Didn't hit the backdoor clubs, but I am going to commit to the bluff now, guys. I'm hoping that our opponent does not have a 10. That would be a sad story. Nice. Seven deuce respect. Not sure if I want to float with Jack High on the left-hand side. It probably will be the best hand a fair amount, but let's just allow that one. Queen high for the win. He knows I love calling with high cards. He knows it. He knows it. King high for the win. Nice hand. Got shot on the flop. Okay, quick check on the turn. This is a min-raised pot. I was gonna say, I don't know how much 9x goes into that, but there we go. I'm a very strange person. He is a very strange person, it's true. We can just check jam, I guess, on over here on the left, but maybe just giving him some rope is better. I guess rope was better. Oh dear. We're getting bled out on the right-hand side here. We're not connecting with any of the min-raised pots that were played so far. We have a straight flush draw. What do you guys think are the chances that we make our straight flush draw? Here we go. This guy will just bet big anyway, right? I think probably bigger is better here. We managed to get it all in good on the left-hand side. Lovely turn. We need a double in the 100x. The 100x in the $100 game. King 6 is definitely good enough. Queen 9 is the correct call, of course. Woo! That's the run out we're looking for right there. That is the run out that we are looking for. So I have to respect Undersea Monkey and make the Nash call here. I might regret this one. But we have to respect Undersea Monkey and make the Nash call. See, too much respect. This is what happens. This is what happens. You give him too much respect. Damn it. You give him too much respect, and that's what you get. Undersea Monkey rips it. GG, buddy. Good game. I don't know what to tell you, chat. All we can do is make the right call. All we can do is make the correct call. Hello, Nettie. Good to see you. Welcome. Take this one out. Aces, blind be blind. We got no action with aces, blind v blind, but we will get some with ace, queen of diamonds. I'm going to overbet the turn. And this will just be a push. One blind. We made, for the third time today, we almost won a flip and they rivered a set. Doesn't make any sense. A stone cold pleasure. Always a pleasure, mate. We legitimately actually did a thing there for a minute. We legitimately did a thing for a minute there, and then of course the queen 8 call. Too much respect. Way too much respect. This time it's just the 2.5x ISO. We almost had a comeback on the left-hand side here. It's coming home, Nettie. I honestly think it's coming home. I sincerely, genuinely believe it's coming home. Especially given the fact that France is now no more. France eliminated, right? France World Cup. France leaves to Spain. Full time yesterday. This mouse is really clicky. I was actually listening back to the stream, and the mic is picking up loads of the click, which is fine if you're gaming. It's not so good if you're pokering and trying to talk. Am I going to watch the game? I will definitely watch the game this evening. Yes, absolutely. I've seen all the England games so far, except for perhaps some of the very early ones, and I think that they are. I think they're doing a thing. I think they're definitely doing a thing. So this evening, Ruthie is running a 10K. So I'm gonna try and clock off stream around 5, go and support her in the 10K, and then I'm gonna watch the game somewhere. Very possibly this game will be watched in the Royal Sovereign pub, which is just around the corner. The Royal Sov is a beautiful establishment. Classic bright Brightonian pub. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Let's do this. Let's do this. McNeil says, I would love us to win tonight, but I think Argentina's dark arts will prevail. Honestly, I don't know enough about football to comment. I feel like England has been both unlucky. So in the games that I've actually watched, I feel like England has been unlucky in some of the calls that have been made against them. And I would also say that Ace 10 is a good trap here. What do you guys think? Is Ace 10 a good trap here? Apparently not. Nice hand back. So England has been a bit unlucky in the sense that I think they've had a lot of pretty bad ref decisions go against them. I think they've been a bit lucky to have won some of these very close games, but obviously good effort as well. This is coming from somebody who knows very little about football, to be honest. That's just me watching as an outside observer. But then again, at the end of the last game, England head coach was the first person to say, he's happy, and he thinks everybody really wants to win, but like they made it really hard on themselves and they could have played better. So he tends to agree, I guess. There are some very good teams left, but I do think that France might have been one of our biggest threats. And now France can GTFO, bruv. Not as a country, just the team. I do actually very much enjoy traveling to France. To France! Vive la France! And I was running far away. Would I run off the world someday? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I was dancing in the rain. Felt alive and I can't explain. Lord, take me home where I belong. McNeil says, love the Royal Sovereign, have spent many a late night there. So the Sov has been pretty good because the Sov has been doing like late nights. So when there's been games on late, they've been keeping the pub open late for it. It's been really good. Just a great pub. I've done New Year's there on several occasions as well. The New Year's party is a lot of fun. There's a lot of camaraderie. You know, a lot of the regs hanging out. Everyone's dancing together. It's very communal. It's just magnificent. It's majestic. I got no other place to go. Come on, take me home where I belong. We're gonna play this as a call. You can push 10-8 here if you want. Come on, take me home where I belong. I got no other place to go. There's some really good turns for us here. I think betting is probably a bit of a mistake. Come on, take me home where I belong. Definitely not folding the turn. Just call and see how we go. Making a straight would be ideal, of course. I have concerns. I'm gonna go with my gut here and just let that one go. Yeah, I mean, in addition to being a good pub, the Royal Sov is also just around the corner, which is also, you know, helpful. Come on, take me home. We got a pair and a flush draw on the turn. Usually in these spots, any heart, any 10, any 3 is going to be good enough to win the pot. Let's take another free card, I guess. Yeah, the 10 plays. I think this is fine. This might be slightly better, guys. Wish me luck. Top set is really, 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 really cute, mate. Well done. Back just loving top pair there. Top set, I should say. Top set. McNeil says, I did New Year's there 3 years ago. We may as well have been in the same. We may well have been at the bar at the same time. Makes sense. I think it was 3 years. I think we did it last year and the year before. Pie Face Poker was there that year as well. I think that was 2 years ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago. We're going to lose a flip over here on the right. If only Burger Pod was still open when it shuts. Burger Pod's really nice. They actually do a great job there. Oops, sorry guys. I keep opening Stars Caption there on accident. The Stars Caption window is an overlay directly on top. I keep pressing the wrong button there and showing you the wrong one. Sorry for the confusion. Come on and take me home. turns, min raise. Gonna bet for value on the flop. Getting jammed on is, I don't know, like, kind of absolutely hate it, but there we go. I mean, I guess he's just got a 9, but like, also, I don't really know if that's how you're supposed to play a 9, but it's hard for him to just have air there. We've min-raised blind v blind, and I don't think it's a spot where he's going to be particularly suspicious of our sneaky behavior. Managed to flop a pair of 3s. And we shan't be folding flop. This is not a particularly good turn. All right, we got a 4x multiplier on the left here. I'm min-raising because the big blind is really shallow and we haven't played with them before, so they're going to give us more action than they should. Start with a small bet. I'm going to check the turn. I don't see that we're in that much threat here. I mean, if they have a big hand, they probably just turn to straight, but even then that seems unlikely. 3-5 isn't really that going to be in range here. We'll call the shove here if we need to. Okay. I mean, we've under-repped our hand, right? If they have a calling hand, they're going to call here. We've checked the turn specifically for deception. I think it would be a mistake to not put in the rest and just hope that he has a jack or a 4 or whatever. Nice. Not the ace deuce. So we literally just looked at this spot not that long ago, didn't we, guys? The ace deuce off, he shoves 8. We're going to mark the ace deuce for review just now. But this is a really, really important spot, the ace deuce, because we quite literally just looked up a very similar spot where we called with a hand like ace 7, and ace 7 was out of range there in almost exactly the same setup. Now this one's very different because queen 10 ends up having mountains of equity. Nice. So we win the big pots, or sorry, the side pots. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to bet big on this flop and hope that he folds on the left. Even people who aren't playing the quote-unquote correct range are still going to miss that board a lot, and getting folds from the aboves are nice, from the overcards. This one's brutal. It's like probably mandatory call on the right, just because they will still have queen jack and jack 10 and all this stuff. 10-7 of clubs is definitely fine. I approve of this line, but against the unknown player, it's very difficult to know if they're playing Nash or not, but at that point I think the king high is just too good. We're fighting for our lives for the $50 here, chat. Fighting for our lives. Come on now. Let's go. We have the advantage again. We have A7 of spades. Good spot here. Nice. I love winning all in pots. Got a rematch with Silby. Let's do this one. I'd say against King of Poker, we can probably just default to push here. It's a 3x multiplier. I'd say we're probably not in the vein. Blind v blind is not the spot. It's not the vein to try and outplay the best $25 spin and go player of all time. So these guys haven't represented any street yet. Let's go for it. Let's try. Good call with A6. Definitely kind of assuming that he's going to have 6 at best. Going to put in half of our stack with King, Queen of Spades. Commit the rest on the flop. Oh, instant delivery for the 5-high Omega punts. We put in half of our stack to get called by 5-high, and it was absolutely glorious. 62% favored on the flop. And that was one of the worst case outcomes for $100. My guy just gets it right away. Easy game. My good friend is just gifted. They just said, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Would you like some free money? Would you like some free money, sir?" I'm going to flat aces here. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going absolutely crazy in the 2x multiplier. I'm going absolutely mental in the 2x multiplier. I'm going absolutely mental in the 2x multiplier. Absolutely mental. %, no good. 80% no good. And I was running far away. Would I win the pot with aces? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And I went all in one day. Would I win the pot with faces? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. All right, Undersea Monkey. I hope they go well, my friend. I hope they go better than Aces did just now. Nettie says, I'm going to my neighbor's where I used to live next door, a minute away for a barbecue and watch. That's great. I think stuff like this is best enjoyed amongst friends. Definitely go and enjoy that. Oh, also, I wanted to mark the Queen 10 for review. Queen 10, Queen 10, Queen 10. Queen 10, Queen 10. I overcalled with Queen 10 multi-way. Definitely a shove here. Okay, so we overcall with Queen 10. It wasn't that long ago, was it? Yeah, okay, mark hand. We're gonna mark the King 9 that we just played as well. Mark hand. WPT Pro Chip. Unknown player. This might be a major mistake, but I do feel like this is what we're supposed to do. Never mind. The instincts are correct. Okay, WPT Pro Chip Omega Punch. Come on and take me home. Home where I belong. All right, King 8 suited going in the review. I'm pretty sure we can min-raise fold that hand. Sick bluff. Sick bluff, fam. What is going on? How many times are they going to turn or river sets? What the fuck? We are literally out here blasting for our lives. And these guys get it in as a flip, lose the flip, and then river the set. Like, come on, mate. What are we doing out here? What are we actually doing out here, guys? Oh. Didn't call King Jack, definitely approved. Feels nice to get that one all in as the best hand, though. 7 deuce isn't going to cut it. Middle pair is a good hand, generally speaking. I will find it a bit tricky to fold this hand on the left. I'm not going to lie. This is a stack depth where our opponents will have a lot of their King X combos all in pre-flop. I'm not sure if we're allowed to call a river jam here, but this is sad. This is a sad story. This is a very sad story, guys. I mean, come on. We can't fold. Nice, nice. Well done. Well done. You got there, Phil. You got there. You got there, Phil. Load of absolute nonsense. Nice hand, mate. Well done. Very good. Very good. Very good. Well played. Well played. Well played. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Love is a burning thing. All right, I want to mark that one for review because I feel like this is okay, but I'm not sure if that's too weak. And literally never folding ace-7 here for any amount. Literally 13 big blinds, 100% jam versus limp. Straight into ace jack because, yeah. Great, 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 cool. And it leaves a burning ring. All right, so guys, we are fighting for our lives out here today. Today's games are significantly tougher than they were yesterday. We are certainly playing far more yellow tags. Get there. There we go. We cannot win a flip. They always have a set. They've always got a set, and we never win a flip. How are we supposed to win when they always have a set? Always have a set. Have a set all the time. My girl wants to have a set all the time. Have a set all the time. Always has a set all the time. Ugh. My girl wants to flop a set every time. Flop a set every time. Flop a set every time. How am I supposed to win this hand on this board? Gotta flop a set just to win. Gotta flop a set every time. My girl wants to always flop a set, always flop a set, always flop a set. My girl wants to flop in all the sets, flop in all the sets, flop in all the sets. We can't win a pot. We can't win a pot. We can't win a pot. Cause we never have a flop set. Flop set. All right, we got a decent multiplier on the right-hand side here, guys. Juju, what's up? Good to see you. Please play 100. We can play 100 if you want. Not mad about that. I think we got a spin on the right-hand side here, guys. Against the reg, especially. Woo, nice. Don't you dare. $125. Limb button multi-way 12 effective at least 3 out. Oh man. Imagine winning an all-in, guys. Can you imagine? All right, let's focus on this one really quick. The singing's cracking me up. I'm cracking up. That's why I'm singing. My girl wants to flop it all the time, flop it all the time, flop the sets. Why is this game so hard? My girl wants to flop a set. Can we win $125? Yes, I want to win $125. Millionaire Mojo says, I noticed the board is fighting you today. Yeah. We are... I think we're playing pretty well. I think we're playing pretty well, but we are definitely up against it here. We've got some good opponents. In general, I should say, not. We've had more regs today than we'd had yesterday. Yesterday was a good session for us, of course, but we also are not winning all-ins. And in the new format of Spin and Goes, it is particularly hard to have a winning EV when you're not winning flips because you just don't have as much exposure to chips. This is an exploit against this player specifically. Juju says you might need to take a break if you're folding Queen Jack off. What was I folding? I'm not sure what you mean, mate. Limp call jam, king 7 of spades. Okay, well, let's mark that one for review. Because I don't think it's probably not as crazy as it looks. King 8, maybe. King 9. King 9, almost definitely. I don't know. I'm actually not sure. We'll take a look at his range when we open up the study sesh today. Go. Ooh. Okay, another big multi would be nice here. These are 2 unknowns. We'll take a 3x. Instant delivery? Yeah, the ace-10 gem is fine, though. This is definitely okay. Definitely respectable all in. Now heads up for all the juice. We have a gut shot. You can still bluff on a later street too. I think we're gonna bluff, guys. Wish me luck. It's fair. Definitely fair. We're obviously trying to put that exact combo in a tough spot. He can obviously still have loads of stuff that we beat that he folds for the jam, though. Of course, we're not just targeting a middle pair. That flop call river is very respectable, though. I think this is a perfectly reasonable hand to call with there. Straight ace king, lovely. Maniacs Mansion, thank you. Appreciate that. King high for the win. All right, we want to try and get all the chips in on the river with the best hand here to try and rectify the Queen 9 gem bluff. Trap check the turn. All right, wish me luck, guys. Of course. Really nice. Really nice stuff. Really nice. Really nice. Fucking boring. It was a very boring flop, chat. Yes, mate, we know you can't fold. We know. Did everything in his power to find a way to fold this hand, still couldn't fold it. Fucking God. Nice hand, dude. He did everything he possibly could to get the information he needed to make a good decision, and he still couldn't fold. My friend is absolutely desperate to fold this hand. Desperate! He is so terrified with middle pair. He wants any indication that he can get away from his hand. We 10x jam his one big blind probe. And guess what? We still can't fold. We still can't find a fold. Just absolute classico. Truly, truly classico poker. All right, we're going to commit all of it, guys. Wish me luck. Good luck if he has a straight or a flush. Nice answer. That is exactly the hand we're targeting, by the way. That is quite literally the exact hand that we are targeting with our straight blocker in hand as well. Hey Ed K, how's it going, buddy? How was your trip in the end, mate? How was your trip in the end, my friend? If this guy has hearts, I might quit poker forever. Nice. Nana Jack says, I think England can beat Spain. I think they absolutely can, yeah. Is it too soon to say it's coming home? You wouldn't be the first, mate. It's definitely not too soon to say that. It's never too soon to say that, mate. Never, ever, ever too soon for that, buddy. Nice hand, senor. All right, chat. Nick, if we lose tonight, I will blame you solely for saying it's coming home on stream now. It's never too soon. It's never too soon. Okay, chat. We are well and truly playing our hearts out. We have made... I think we've played very well today, in general. We've probably made, like, 3 really solid bluffs just now in the last, like, 25 minutes, all of which got called. We can have a debate about whether or not a good bluff is a good bluff because it's a good bluff, or whether or not it's a good bluff because it works. I would say all of them were very good. All of them were hitting the nail on the head. We were targeting the exact hands that they had on each occasion. We knew exactly where we were in the hand. We were putting all of these hands in a situation where they were making a decision for more than 2x pot for their stack. It is so hard to win EV in this game right now. We are playing our hearts out here, and it's hard. Cool, Matt. Thank you. Yeah. I tend not to believe this on the left-hand side. He's trying to rep a deuce. And if he's got it, we're going to pay him here. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. No, 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 no. 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 No, no, no. We'll not allow that. I will not allow that sort of behavior at my table. Thank you very much, sir. Double gut shot. Double gut shot, no action. Single gut shot on the flop. I just want to be on the right side of those once and a while. Just literally once in a while. I just want to be the one with the best hand getting shoved into. Once in a while. Just once in a while. Okay, so this could be a king. I don't think it's a king based on this turn size. We're about to find out. Of course it's not. He literally just has a 4. I don't think we can fold on the right-hand side here. We have a diamond blocker. He's supposed to bluff the ace-king board so aggressively here. Where do we start? We can't fold. Wish me luck, guys. Nice. Yeah. Starry checks out. Starry checks out. Right. So, literally the runner Broadway straight. Right. So what you're saying is we know exactly where we are in the hand, as usual. We're making the right call on both occasions, as usual, and our opponent always gets there, as usual. Literally no incentive whatsoever. So we just have to call. If we don't have a diamond blocker, we suppose we can probably get away from it sometimes. But he's literally repping. He's literally repping the universe because he's allowed to do that. And we aren't. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, guys, let's do a few more games, and then we're gonna take a look at some hands for review. We got a couple to cover today. Feeling really frustrated again, if I'm honest. Feeling very frustrated, in fact. Feels like 4 steps forward, 3 steps back all year, and in the meantime, we still are always on the wrong side of the coolers. Like, I just do not understand how often we have to just put it in against a pair every day. It's costing us buy-ins and buy-ins and buy-ins and buy-ins. And eventually it will all even out. Don't get me wrong. Eventually it will all even out. But right now, it just feels like we are always pushing into the nuts. Serious comedy run out there. Serious comedy run out. All right, we got a 4x multiplier on the right-hand side. Let's try and do our best in that one. We got a 4x on both sides. Let's see if we can win some chips here. Nice hand, kings. We're going to start bluffing on the turn now. Trying to give myself the runway to do this big bluff on the river now. I don't think he has a king. I think he might have spades. I think he might have a straight draw. Good bluff again. I mean, quite literally hitting the nail on the head again. This is the spot we were just playing a second ago, guys. We set this hand up perfectly. We face a lead on the flop. We call with the best hand. On the turn, we recognize our opponent doesn't have a king, possibly a queen, but almost never a queen, maybe an eights. And we proceed from here. We manage to put in a bet on the turn and put them all in on the river. $100 spot on the right. Nice. This is maybe bluff number 4 today, where we pretty much are drilling the exact spot. We know exactly where we are in the hand. We've put our opponents on a very specific range, and we've targeted that range for their entire stack, and we get called down, and fair enough, you know. This is a very good example of just CFWF in the extreme, which is good to know in future. However, obviously this is very well executed. Absolutely no reason why we're not smashing this hand. Again, I say maybe 4 bluffs that look exactly like this today. We triple off and overbet the river, and our opponent calls us with a 5 on 4, 5, ace, king, 10 backdoor diamonds. We're not going to let him get away with a lead here. The float is definitely mandatory. The turn is a really nice spot to speed up because now he suddenly never has a king. We sized our bet in a believable way. And we shoved 13 big blinds into a pot of 9 on this river for maximum pressure. Jack 10. This is very good, I believe. Very good indeed. Let's play 2 more games. There's an interesting dynamic at play here, right? Because obviously people understand that we're very capable of bluffing. And certainly we are an aggressive poker player. We play aggressively. The unfortunate truth of this year, the very, very unfortunate truth of this year is that while we are playing very aggressively and we're holding our own in pretty much every spot, we just aren't making hands. So we are simultaneously in many situations where we are putting chips in with a draw that we don't make. And we are also putting ourselves in significantly difficult situations where we are being aggressive in the correct spots, getting called down extremely light, but we're never actually making the hands that we need in order to show down the best hand. And our stats actually graphically show that. Our actual chips won at Showdown this year have never been this flat before, ever, to my knowledge. So we're fighting an uphill battle, and our red line is doing all the heavy lifting, which means that we are showing up at Showdown with these bluffs, which are very good bluffs. But unfortunately, if we're not going to make any hands this year, we're not actually going to be able to get rewarded when we are showing down the correct bluffs in the correct situation and our opponents aren't supposed to give us credit for. So we're just stuck in variance hell again. Every time we try and get out of this this trough that we're stuck in, we just get gunned down. How's it going, Matt? Good to see you, by the way. This is nice. This is actually a very nice spot. I'm very grateful for that. That's exactly the spots we've been enduring all day today. It's nice to have it the other way around. Never mind. So hands I want to mark really quick. We want to look at the King 8 here. I'll be very surprised if that was not textbook. Textbook jam. What's the other spots? The ace-7 here as well. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Big flop on the right-hand side. I'm going to check and let him bluff this river if he can. Zelzel should be able to pounce on the 4-club board pretty aggressively here. Yeah, no dice. Just doesn't have enough hand. He's got 10 high, no hand whatsoever. So that's exactly the kind of spot where we need to find more traps. Allow our opponents to represent high clubs. All right, we need to be careful here on the right. This is definitely a tricky hand to navigate correctly. We've played our hand relatively face up at this point, but I'm struggling to see how else we're supposed to do it. Miss spades, miss hearts, miss straight draws potentially here. 10-8 is probably a hand that bets flop quite often. So if he turns up here with a jack, it's very difficult not to pay him. And it just seems like another spot where we need to pay, unfortunately. I don't expect him to have a 9 very often. There we go. Max says, yep, king 8 off and the small blind heads up. 10 big blinds effective as a shove in the pack. Yeah, pretty sure it is. Okay, let's take a look at this month so far, guys. It is still breaking my heart. Like, genuinely breaking my heart. To feel like we're just making such little progress this year. It's very, very frustrating. Let's take a gander. Sorry, guys. Wrong button. So far this month, guys, we are flatlining again. I really think that today and yesterday were two very, very, very good shifts. We are encountering a lot of resistance. Today we played a lot of 2-reg games. Generally speaking, if it's me and 2 other regs, nobody in that party will make chips in the long run, which is not the situation we'd like to find ourselves in for a game of very small edges. I really, really feel like yesterday and today were very tight, very, very strong. I feel like a lot of the big pots that we lost were cold decks that went against us or very good bluffs that got called. Again, you know, all jokes aside, you know, what is a good bluff? Well, any bluff that works is a good bluff, first of all, but, you know, theoretically, when we look at a situation where we're bluffing, are we bluffing with intention? Can we believably represent strong hands? Are we correctly identifying situations where our opponents are weak and they have hands that they should be folding? I think all those answers are yes. I mean, some of these big spots at the end are fair enough. You know, if you put in the money and you bluff and your opponent calls and they have the best hand, they win. No disrespect to those players whatsoever. But in almost all of these situations, they are strongly, strongly, strongly indicating weakness. And we are correctly identifying that they're weak, and we're attacking them in situations where their hand is incredibly far down in terms of hand strength. And it's costly. When you bluff for big amounts of chips, when you put players all in for 1.4x pot, and they call and they win, you know, it looks bad on the graph, but that's also what gives you a winning red line. So, you know, this level of aggression is a double-edged sword. Having said that, part of the aggressive lines that we do take are meant to be tempered by the moments where we are very strong and we play our hands in the same fashion. In all of these situations that we were all in for more than pot on the river, in all of these big bluff spots, we very easily had a range advantage, and we very easily could have had marginal hands that would have been better than the hands that we were getting called by. Unfortunately, this year, despite what this graph looks like, we are not winning pots at Showdown. We are not getting to Showdown with the best hand as often as we should. And I don't mean that in the sense that we're not getting to Showdown and we're showing down the best hand. I mean, literally, we're getting to Showdown and we have no hands made. If we look at this here, you guys can kind of get a better picture. This is me repeating myself for the 1000th time this year, but this is the only way I'm going to stay sane. Between 15,000 hands and nearly 45,000 hands played, we are almost breaking even, and only because of this most recent upswing. This is an upswing where we're running above expectation. And for the last 30,000 hands, You're telling me that we have broken even in the hands that we've showed down when we have a winning red line. Like, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. If we were to go back to, say, let's go back to July 2024 until whatever, today's the 7th, right? Let's go to the 8th. Let's go 1st of July 2024 until now. Perfect. Apply. Over the course of all of this, in the past few years, our red line, this is our non-showdown profit and loss, right? We have always consistently been a relatively losing red line player. However, the situations and decisions that we've made that take us to showdown have been supported by a consistently winning blue line. For us to just be flatlining from pretty much here to here, it's very difficult, right? Because all of these aggressive, bluffy lines that we take are meant to win chips at non-showdown. However, the point being that in situations where our opponents are in a tricky spot and they're being forced all in, we actually have the best hands some of the time as well. And this year, for some reason, we are just not being dealt hands that are winning at showdown. We are getting to showdown with missed draws. We're getting to showdown where our opponents have improved against us and we don't win that way. We are getting it all in with lots of very reasonable hands and running into monsters. We're shoving Jack 10 blind v blind for 8 big blinds and they have jacks. We're shoving queens. We're shoving Queen Jack. They have queens. We're shoving Ace Jack. They have aces. You know, these things. Blah, 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 blah. It's all just variance, but it makes it very, very difficult to be profitable, especially in a circumstance where we've actually improved our red line in a very meaningful way. The fact that our red line is now flatlining here, this is actually, you know, coming into this year, flatlining here, in fact, even slightly going up, means that we've actually improved in a lot of other areas of our game. We just need to win some chips. We just need to, like, start making hands in order to make this graph go, like, straight to Venus. Eastern in the chat says, when he called you with Jack 10, a 75 and bet on river instead of overbet wouldn't accomplish the same thing, and you save more chips when somebody like that calls you down. I'm assuming you mean 75% bet on the river instead of an overbet. No, because I think that, first of all, this is probably the way that we would want to play our strong hands. And also, when you find yourself against a player who is playing very loosey-goosey, first of all, we can assume that loosey-goosey players are going to be less likely to fold medium to strong hands, right? Jack 10, I think, under the circumstances, is way, 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 way down the list of hands that could be winning in that spot, so I'm not concerned about that specific situation. I think we read the situation perfectly. Going to the river, he has no hand. We were bluffing against a man that had no made hand. So for the fact that he improved on the river to third pair, it doesn't really change anything. In addition to that, the kinds of players that are sticky in that fashion, in my experience, the kinds of players that are sticky like that tend to view the chips as chips, except for in circumstances where they are being forced all in for all of their chips. So number one, I think that there's a way for us to play our hand like that where we have value, which I think is very good. Number two, there was another option. I don't disagree with you. We could have bet 75% pot or 80% pot or 90% pot. However, I think the best way to get players like that to fold is to put them to the test for all of their chips. I guess it just depends, right? So if this is the kind of player that is going, I'm never going to fold a flush draw, I'm never going to fold a straight draw, but they always fold to any bet on the river, if they don't improve to either of those two, then what you're describing is way better. If the player is, I'm going to bet because I have middle pair, I'm not going to fold the turn because I know this guy is going to bluff me, and I'm always going to call any river bet unless he puts me all in, then obviously the alternative is better too. The problem that we encounter is it's difficult to estimate what kind of a player you're up against in these situations, and therefore it's better to hedge your bets and to try and attack both at the same time. So in the event that we are encountering the player that will fold to any river bet because they've missed their draw, then any bet will win. But if we're encountering the player who is very sticky with middle pair and really doesn't want to fold a pair, if he was leading middle pair on the flop instead of Jack 10, for example, then obviously we're accomplishing both by jamming. If we have the impression that we're playing against somebody who is very passive and relatively tight, then your line is way better. But up until that point, we had kind of identified that player as a bit more loosey-goosey, which is accurate. And we correctly identified that we should be attacking this weakness, and we correctly put him all in a situation where he has to call with the 100 millionth nuts on the river after we've bet 3 streets in position. You know? But your line has merit 100%. I just think it works better against different players. So, long story short, guys. Long story short. If we filter for our spinning goes lifetime, we are doing a lot right in this game. $387,000 hands of spinning goes. 387,000 hands of spinning goes. Let's clean this up a bit. 387,000 hands of spinning goes, and we're still 50,000 chips under expectation after all these years. We're obviously doing a lot right, and obviously this graph represents the old days, but also reg speed spinning goes where there was more chips in play, and now we're having to deal with a more flat line over here where there's fewer chips in play and the edges are much smaller. Long story short, guys, this year has been very difficult. It's been very, very challenging. This year has been particularly challenging. And we're making progress. The chips are going up. They're just not going up fast enough for my liking, because we're definitely better than this. It's very difficult to know. It's very difficult to distinguish between the different kinds of variants in this format so far this year. Last year, we got a little taste of it when we did the 5K, when we did our 50K challenge. This year, I'm really, 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 really feeling how much of these push-fold situations adds to the volatility of this game. There's just very little way out of many of the situations that we might have gotten away from previously, and I think that is costing us in general. But I also feel fairly confident that if we could just go on a bit of a run where we make some hands once in a while, we're gonna make good. My mindset is just taking a hit this year because it's just very dry. I just feel very like we are committing ourselves to playing this new version of spinning goes. I feel like we have put in a lot of time into the study aspect of playing these more awkward stack depths. I feel like over time, our red line is a testament to this. Over time, we have absolutely become a better player as a result of it in general, not just in spinning goes. But we need something to change, because we just cannot. I've never had 30K hands of mostly crater and then eventually break even blue line. Eastern says, if he is a rational player, he would fold. If he was a rational player, he will fold a jack or a queen there for 75%. If he calls 75% with the jack, I think he calls a small overbet as well. Yeah, no, like I said, I think there's a couple different categories of player that will think about this spot differently. The vibe that I was getting from this player is that they were going to be very sticky, so I think the overbet is better, but how sticky is a tricky one. Anyway. Let's take a look at these hands for review. Before we do that, let's close PokerStars. So still up $175 this month. Is this right? Yeah. Chippy V obviously took a considerable tumble here at the end of today's session for some reason. Anyway, let's do the hands. Okay. There is an all-in blind v blind we call with 9-4. It's 3 big blinds. I'm pretty sure any 9 is going to be good here. It feels bad when you're this short as well, but obviously this is just what it is. Let me open up some clever stuff. Okay. So as I just mentioned, guys, and I want to make this crystal clear, PokerStars, the client is completely closed. So I'm going to fire up GTO Wizard for the first time today, and we are going to study from the hand histories that we've generated today. So yeah, 9-4 is a call. Pretty straightforward stuff. This is pretty straightforward, right? Just all in for 3 bigs. You guys remember that at 2.6 effective, we call with any 2 cards. Basic concept says the volume seems to be lacking, in my opinion. That could also be an issue where it feels like the whole year sucks. That is absolutely true, mate. You're 100% on the money. There is a big difference between me playing 1 or 2 tables on stream and then me playing 4 tables off stream. The swings feel way, way worse when you're watching everything in slow motion. I mean, obviously you guys know spins are pretty fast, but this is definitely a component to it. I completely agree with that statement, and obviously we can still, you know, on the way to 10K, we should find some semblance of sanity in amongst everything, but this is definitely part of it for sure. Thank you, Mac. I appreciate that, buddy. That's very kind of you to say. Everyone with your kind words, I appreciate it. At the end of the day, it's just a game. It's not a big deal. The bankroll that we're playing with is not an issue. This is an investment into, you know, the content that we're creating here. Obviously we're playing with money we can afford to lose, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. But you know, I just care a lot about the state of the content that I create, and I really want to always be my best. And part of what we try and create on this channel is relatively slow so that we can talk about the spots, and a lot of people have benefited from that, not just in Spin and Goes but in poker in general. And you know, I'm proud of what we've created on this channel, and I'm proud of the content that I create. And I want to always be my best, but it's very frustrating when we just go on these stretches of like not much going on. Like I would almost rather play bad and go like, okay, we played bad today, than to get to the end of like yet another stream and just be like, hey guys, I think we're actually doing okay. Like it's just not working because, like, you know what I mean? And also it's because Spin and Goes are so different from the way they were before as well, right? There was absolutely lots of variance in the previous format, but also in the previous reg speed Spin and Goes, the opportunities that we had when we were in the right kind of game with the right kind of players were so much greater. And now, you know, we might have 2 hands on a table with 2 recreational players, and there's no chips in play because it's a 2x multiplier. So a lot of the really good situations are fewer and far in between for us to really shine when we're playing against some very, very good players as well. Basic Concept said, what speaks against 4 tabling on stream? Do you prefer talking on us? Yes, that is basically it. The issue that we've always encountered is four tabling spin and goes, first of all, is way too fast for most people to follow. And also much worse than that, when you try and get four tables on screen, they're so small and it's so difficult to actually see what's happening, especially if people are watching on mobile, which is so common. So even two tabling, people will say, oh, it's difficult for me to follow or it's difficult to see. So it's partially that, but also a lot of people prefer the more conversational tone of the streams as opposed to me just sitting in silence and four tabling. In addition to that, stacking the tables when you're doing spinning goes and you're trying to juggle four is like a lot of extra brain power, which makes it even harder to talk. So I can do a version of it where I have four table and I'm skipping between each table, but because they're so close to each other and it's difficult to identify which table is which, if you do four and you're switching as though you're doing an MTT stream, it makes it even harder to follow. I've been doing this, since like 2017. So I've heard all the feedback and ultimately people always prefer it like this. All right, so there's a limp here at 14.5. We check, our opponent bets, we call on the turn, we check, they bet again, and we fold. I want to know if there's a different way to play this, but I'm pretty sure this is good. We want to double check the boring ones as well. Okay, on the turn, check bet, call. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, we did talk about this on stream, my bad. I want to know if we call if we don't have a gut shot, because I'm pretty sure on stream I said there's a chance we're supposed to call because we have a gut shot. Rick Dolph, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Very kind of you, make it to see you as well. So what we want to do is we want to jump into this hand, and then we want to study we want to know if we do the same thing in the event we don't have the queen. So these are circumstances where we have a deuce. Let's say that we have bottom pair. Third pair, 1, 2, 3. Low pair is what they're calling it. Okay. All right, so in this situation, king deuce, of course, makes sense. That's not only a gut shot, but it's also the king to go with the deuce. The queen is the same. 9 deuce is just the fold. 8 deuce is pretty much just the fold. That's enough against most players. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, so sure enough, the reason why we're actually highlighting this is because I said I think that with the gut shot we're supposed to call again. That's fine. There is calling outside of having a gut shot, but generally speaking, I think we're okay where we're at with that sort of thought process. So we limp jack tray, our opponent checks. On this board, it goes check, check. Our opponent leads, we call, and our opponent shoves, and I think we need to call here, basically. We spoke about this hand on stream, but if we go back to the start, there's a lot going on here that's to do with the pre-flop. This guy is a very good reg, so we can anticipate that he's going to play something like GTO pre-flop. Our opponent checks. Our opponent will not have queen jack here. They will not have, they might have queen 9 sometimes. Jack 9 is also another combo that's played aggressively, but by the time we arrive here on this turn, our opponent will never have king 10. On the river, our opponent does not interact with the ace. Ace deuce is not there. Ace 9, ace jack, ace queen doesn't exist. King queen doesn't exist. A lot of the queen X is going to be played aggressively versus limp as well. So generally speaking, I think that this has just got to call down, and let's take a look. We have the diamond blocker in our hand as well, which is of use. Sorry, I'm thinking about a different hand, not the diamond blocker. I'm thinking about a different hand. Anyway, this is fine. So sure enough, this is all good. So the pre-flop with the jack tray, it's going to be something between limp and call. Against human beings, the call is going to be better. On the flop, check, check. On the turn, call. On the river, call. This is 100% confirmed. And what I want to show you is the pre-flop here. So remember that this is the flop, queen jack 9. If we go back to the big blind range here, take a look at how aggressive we're supposed to be, right? Queen 4 off is going to be a shove or a raise, majority. Queen 3 off is the same. Queen deuce off is a shove. King 10, always a raise, either here or here. So if we go to strategy, King 10 off is going to be a raise to 3.5. King 10 suited is a raise to 2.5. So two different sizings here, but always a raise. 10-8, even at a small fraction, is going to be played as a raise. That is actually the flop straight. Jack 9 raised very often. Queen 9 almost always raised on both sides. The Queen 9 suited is the one that stands out as a potential two pair. Queen Jack suited almost never. So you can start to understand why it's difficult for our opponents to have made hands here that they want to play aggressively. And once we arrive on this turn, they could be leading any 10. They could bluff any 10 on the river. They could be leading hearts. They could rep hearts on the river. They could have 10 deuce of hearts where they have a straight draw and a flush draw and a pair. And then on the river, when they miss, they still bluff. Mano Jax, thank you for the gifted sub as well. Mac, thank you for the gifted sub. Maniacs Mansion, thank you very much for the streak as well. Jellig, thank you for the follow. Two of the same, thank you for the follow. Sorry I missed those guys. My notifications must not be popping here. Anyway, long story short, guys, this is a very good example against the reg where we're playing very well. Like our thought process is accurate. The ranges are accurate. We're not AI. What's it called? AI. Hallucinating, right? We're not operating on false assumptions here. We're calling down a very good opponent who's going to be playing the correct range, and we're drilling these spots. But he flops a straight. Helpa says they always have it when they bet like that size in the turn. So look, I'm not disagreeing with you. This is a strong line. The issue is that this guy is a reg, and this guy is very good at poker, and this guy will have the bluffs that we're describing. Now, from experience, now Helpa, let me make this crystal clear. In the event that I was playing against an unknown player, or perhaps somebody that we have marked as a less experienced player, absolutely never calling down like this. It just turns out we're playing one of the $25 super regs who's playing like, 50,000 spinning goes a week. These guys will have the correct bluffs, therefore this is the right line. Now, if I saw this line taken against an unknown player, you absolutely cannot be calling down here. People are not bluffing correctly in this situation. Absolutely not. But we are against the right player. We do need to make the right call. It is the right call. We've played the hand well. But I don't disagree with what you're saying. And for the most part, when people say something like you did just now, people always have it from my experience. That's because people are not aggressive enough. People are not bluffing enough. And for the most part, against most players, especially if you're playing lower stakes, when people bet, they have the hand. They're not bluffing. People do not bluff. Unfortunately, we're just playing in one of the most competitive player pools on planet Earth against one of the players that we have marked after playing 2,000 hands with, and they're very capable, and therefore all of this study actually does make some sense. But yes, I agree. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree. All right, so what happened here? Ace deuce. We should probably look at the hand first, huh? So it went all in, and then we folded. So again, this is a spot that we've been studying a lot of recently. This sort of bigger stack here, very short stack in the small blind, and then we have these offsuit aces. So this will end up being a lot of suited aces, but almost none of our offsuit aces in these multi-way spots, especially when this is 2 big blinds. So we were looking at a spot yesterday where I think it was like a 9 big blind shove, a 1 big blind all in, and then we had like ace 7 and it was still a fold. So let's take a look at the actual range here, because these ones are important. So this is 8 to 8, excuse me, blinds. So under these circumstances, this is the calling range. You can see ace deuce actually comes out. We do actually want to still be calling with a fair number of our offsuit aces though. The previous example was extreme because the initial shove I think was closer to 10 big blinds, but this is definitely still a good takeout. Queen 10 all in, and now these are the spots where these Broadway hands really perform well. This is a 4 big blind jam. This is 2 big blinds. I wouldn't be surprised if we call with most of the deck here that has equity. Yeah, so let's take a look at the whole range, because this is probably going to be like 8-9 suited and like 7-8 suited and stuff like that as well. Yeah, look how wide this range is. This is a very different setup, right? So much shorter stacks in general. And basically just having hands that do well in multi-way pots, or even, the high cards are even still in play here, is going to be very, very good value for us. All right, King 9, we shove King 9 off into an 8 big blind stack, or 7.5, and a 2 big blind stack. Let's take a look at the range. King 9, perfect play, easy game. That's just pre-flop, no big deal. King 8 suited, we min-raise to 2, and this guy jams. I just wanted to double check that we're not shoving King 8 suited here. I think there's a chance we miss a jam at 12. Nope, it's fine. It's getting really close though. If we go back to the button open here, so King 8 suited is right here. If we go to 11 symmetrical, King 9 is in there still. Let's go to 10. It'll be in 10 for sure. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is good again. Happy days. Ace 10, there is a shove, and there is an all-in. Now, this is one that was requested from Mr. Swain. This is very close. When it is a 13.5 big blind jam and a jam here, Ace 10 might be a call. This one eludes me for some reason. Okay, so how close can we get? Let's study the spot. We are at 13.5, and then, yeah, so it's like 14 is fine. We can actually solve it ourselves as well because we have Ultra. So 14, 14, 14 is all in, all in. So Ace 10 off is a fold here at 14. If we go to 13, 13 gets a little bit closer, but it's a bit more complicated than that, right? Because we have 14.5. So let's just try and solve the thing properly. So 13.5 is the initial. So pre-flop 3-handed, let's do 13.5. The initial jam is for 13.5. Small blind has 17. And then we end up having 14.5. We want to take out the limp as always, confirm. So pre-flop, 3-handed, chippy V, 13.5. The button is this. We have 14.5, correct? We do. Okay, let's actually find the solve like this instead. So all in. Yeah. Ace 10 is going to sneak in there as a call. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Swain and I had the same idea. As soon as I made this fold, he asked me to mark it. It was actually already in the mark bin, but that was definitely a call. Having said that, you know. This is probably okay. This is probably... Yeah, no, this is fine. This is accurate. Okay, cool. So 10-4, we limp and a check. It goes check, check on the flop. On the turn, there's a bet and we fold. So honestly, I don't know. I think you can go a lot of different ways here. I think there is an exploit aspect to this as well. Let's just see if we're getting close here. No, they like it a lot. Okay, cool. That feels good because I think in previous iterations I would have been too aggressive in those hands. So this is Minray's call. On this board, our opponent bets and we just fold. Again, I don't really see how we're supposed to play this differently unless we fold pre-flop, which I don't think we do. Yeah, cool. Job done. All right, pocket fours. There's a limp. We jam. Our opponent calls. So this wasn't us. This was our opponent calling with king seven of spades. So the initial jam is for like almost 17 big blinds. I don't think king seven of hearts is supposed to limp call, but I do think king eight suited does. So we're looking at our opponent's range here rather than ours. So call, we move all in. Yeah, so king seven suited is a fold. King eight is still a fold at the stacked up. That's kind of what I was thinking. I think this is like the minimum threshold. So the limp call with king seven of spades I thought was unusual. We've confirmed that that's not a thing. And here we made it 2.2. Our opponent calls. We bet one. Our opponent calls. So the ISO size here is going to be 2.5 and not 2.2. We did that on purpose. We got all the rest in on the turn, and he has two pair because, of course, he does. All right, so this is ISO to 2.5. Like I said, I knew that that was the case. I've already mentioned that. On the flop, betting one is going to be almost identical to betting two. Again, this is an exploit size, so I'm not concerned about this. On the turn, they want us to straight jam. Again, as an exploit, we're not concerned about the rest. Obviously, the all-in exists here. That's fine. I'm not sure why I marked this one. This one's pretty straightforward. A7 suited. So we're facing an open jam. This player is pushing into two players. So Easy Game and I have, you know, around 13.5 or 14.5 big blinds. The jamming range here is going to be ace deuce, ace three, ace four, ace five, a6 suited. So we have all that dominated, first of all, which is pretty significant. Also, the small pocket pairs that we do well against. So twos and threes and fours, I think, are the ones that jam, even fives. I can't see how this is a fold. I think this has got to be a call against a reg. Against the unknown players, again, we can play differently. Against the reg, it's just going to be spot on. Let's double check the range here. So the jamming range, as anticipated, is up to a6 suited, like I thought. These hands were in there, of course. These hands are in there up to fives, as I said. Okay, cool. This is all good. It's textbook stuff. And king eight, we just open shove for 10. So I'm almost positive that once we get to 11 effective heads up, it's like king seven, king eight, king nine all want to jam pre-flop. Let's double check our thought process here. It's a perfect play, but let's go up to 11 because I want to double check what I just said. So this is 10. We can see how many of the kings we want to jam at 10. But if we go up to 11, king 6, king 7, king 8. Yep, there you go. Nailed it. Okay. All right, so that's all the hands for review. And we have had a little discussion, again, about the current state of play. As I said, guys, it has been a very, very slow year. Let's call it a slow year. Let's not call it a tough year, because this year for me, poker has actually been very rewarding. Both in the really cool games that I've got to play in, but also, you know, financially, we've actually managed to win a fair amount of money here, online, offline. In the spin and go department, in the content creation field, I feel like I haven't streamed as much as I wanted to this year, but that's something that we can still rectify. You know, it's not the end of the year yet. We still have lots of months to go. We can still play a lot more volume, and we can still continue to strive to do bigger and better things. I think today's session was very good. It got very costly at the end there. We got coolered for chunks. We made some very good bluffs that got called down, and that cost us chunks in EV as well. I feel like we're pressing all the right buttons right now. We just need a little bit of support from the RNG, and we'll be heading in the right direction. Now, grateful to see that we're actually running above expectation here. We actually were winning some all-ins. That's not what I'm making reference to. Like, these really big high EV moments are comprised of, you have to make hands, and your opponent needs to get there some of the time, and you need to punish them. And the fact that we made the bluffs that we made today, we're putting people all in for 1.5x pot, and they're calling us down with fourth pair. The fact that they're calling us down in these situations, you know, I think is a really good indication of how profitable we could be in the event that we actually had a fair crack at the card distribution. All of this is just textbook poker, right? If people feel confident calling you down as light as they have today, it means that we're doing a lot right in this department, because we will have big hands in these spots, and when we do, it's going to cost them their whole stack as well. So we need to play through. We need to blast into some more volume, and we need to keep up the grind. Now, tomorrow, I believe I will do another stream similar to this around the same time. I need to just double check what the deal is, because Ruthie is doing her 10K very shortly, which I need to actually go and figure out when that is. I'm going to go support her in that, and I'll let you guys know about tomorrow on social media. If you don't already follow me, give me a follow on these platforms. I'm going to put a link in the chat now. Basic concept, one more thing before we go. When playing against Rex, three-way me in the small blind, do you think it makes sense playing more post-flop versus not jamming ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, but say min open raising instead versus them? Solver pure jams it. So it's tricky. Generally speaking, playing more pots against recreational players is better. They will overfold to jams, which means that when you're shoving the best part of your range, you're probably not going to get as much action as you should. Having said that, you need to be very careful, because if we're at these very shallow stack depths, sometimes the equity denial is almost as valuable as actually playing the pot against them. So put it this way. In the event... Why is this out of alignment? Sorry. I gotta fix that in a sec. Thank you, Manajax. You're absolutely right. So let me put it this way. Try and find the situations that are high value. So for example, in position on the button, multi-way, very, 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 very high value. You're playing in position. If you end up post-flop with a recreational, you will win tons, okay? Heads up in position, in the small blind. Very, very high value, right? Instead, now let's imagine that we're looking at small blind versus big blind, right? They might want you to jam ace king at 10 big blinds effective. However, min raising it actually puts you in a lot more hot water, because even if they are recreationals, them playing in position against a non-made hand is usually worse than you just getting it in pre-flop. So what you probably want to do if you have access is you want to take a look at the actual EV of the situation and the moves that exist there. So for example, let's say that you're playing in a 2x multiplier where you don't have nearly as much time to play poker. You need to play as many hands as possible. You know that the recreationals are overfolding out of position when you shove. If you take a look at a hand that's supposed to be a limp against a reg, and you compare the EV between the two and they're almost identical, you can almost always default to the push against the recreational, because you will make more than that in EV because they will overfold, and it means you get onto more hands faster. You get to play more hands against them overall, where you can take more chips from them in the same fashion. In addition to that, a lot of the EV of the limp itself is anticipating that your opponents are going to attack that limp. And if the average recreational is not aggressive enough, most of the time they will check, and they'll ultimately take you to a flop where they can realize the equity of their very weak hands, and they're not being punished for the times when they're going to attack the limp with the hands that you have dominated. So it's a real balancing act. It's a big balancing act. What I would say is, generally in the shorter stack spin and goes, playing faster is going to be better. In the deeper stacked versions, playing slower is going to be slightly better, but you need to pick and choose your moments in the way I described. No, it's okay, mate. No problem. I'm always happy to answer your answer your questions and follow up with that. And I appreciate your questions. Yeah, Mac, I'll see if I can get her a live link or something. I haven't heard from her yet. So I'm gonna sign off. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll drop